You're listening to the 904wed.com Real Wedding Planning Podcast with two of my favorite co-hosts in the world. Right on top, Ann LaFiles of Premier Bride of Northeast Florida, and of course our very real bride, Amber Flowers, right below her, who is getting married in exactly 4 months. So I don't know when you're watching this podcast, but this has been recorded just about 4 months to the day from her wedding, and you're going to want to pay close attention because I think we're in for a couple surprises today. We're going to find out here, but I think the holidays are getting to Amber. She's trying not to become a bridezilla. I know that. So let's check in with her and see how things are going. And we are keeping score today, Amber, a bridezilla score to see just how close you are to becoming one.
It's going to be
okay. Well, all right. This is my second pen I broke, so I'm pretty sure
that's 1 point. You break a pen during a podcast. That's a point towards bridezilla. All right. Let's find out what has happened since our last podcast. What have you been up to the last week or two?
I think we left off so it was really suspenseful, the last one, because there was so much that we really wanted to get to and say. And I know that we, went from mom's, we picked out her dress. There might be a change, in some of the bridesmaids.
Wait, stop. That's a bridezilla point. If we're talking about changing bridesmaids close to the wedding, Anne, am I right? Is that one point or is that two?
That's two. That's two. We're less than 6 months from the wedding.
Two.
What's going on? Talk to us about the bridesmaids.
We're 135 days away, 4 months and 2 weeks and whatever. I'm not counting or anything. COVID has brought some really different things, and one of those things were quality time. With quality time, there's a lot of babies being made. So 2 of my bridesmaids are pregnant, and they're 2 weeks apart from each other. So
wait. Hold on, Amber.
3 of my bridesmaids are pregnant.
Hold on. First, you're saying that if you're pregnant and a bridesmaid, you are no longer a bridesmaid at Amber Flowers' wedding.
I mean, no.
Are you making them all, besides a COVID test, are you making them all take a pregnancy test like the day before just to make sure?
No, I'm not. So maybe. No, I am not. So there are 3 bridesmaids that are pregnant. One that will definitely have her baby right before the bachelorette party. So the only thing that might be changed up, and the bridesmaids love me because the dresses are black, so it's fine. And they happen to be velvet, which those photograph great anyway. However, there's this thing called a bachelorette party. Okay. So the thing,
that's where we're headed.
So it might change on the bachelorette party, because here's the thing. They will thank me when this time comes. So they're going to be very pregnant. And I just kindly said, listen, I mean, there's going to be some moments that they're not going to want to be a part of. It's going to be very late, and just things that might take place. And I just don't think it's appropriate for it to be exposed at times. That's all. So I said, listen, I'm not being a bridezilla here, but we might be out to one, two.
If you have to tell someone you're not being a bridezilla, that's a point. That's a point.
Are we playing a drinking game or a point game? I think I'm going drinking. This could be tea. Okay, but wait, here it is. So with the girls that are pregnant, and I said, and of course I love them. They're my bridesmaids. I'm just saying, if we stay out late and stuff, I offered a spa day for them, and to sit there so they can go out to dinner and then go out to the clubs. But what if there is something where we're partying? What if there's a strip club?
They're pregnant. pregnant.
What
They're
if?
not dead.
I know that. Okay, so it's in Miami. And I think that, they were talking about, okay, they were trying to change it up a little bit. And they were like, okay, so maybe we'll go out to dinner and then not go to this club this time, or we're not going to go to this time, and we'll have like a pajama party. You know me.
I knew this episode was going to be good. I knew
we
it.
have a
I
different
knew it.
outlook on pajamas here, honey.
Oh. So there's a change in bridesmaids because of the
oh my gosh,
party.
my future mother-in-law is going to hear this, and she's going to be like, oh God. Well, you know what? He has two sisters that are going to get married, so here we go. Yeah. So my bridesmaids, we're not doing a pajama party.
I don't even know where to go with this. We could spend the whole episode talking about this, because here's the thing. Every bride goes through this at some point, right, Anne?
Yeah.
Like second guessing their bridesmaids.
And I'm no young gun here. I mean, it's pregnancy time. I mean, come on now.
I mean, I feel for you, Amber, on what you're going through, but I want to break it down for the viewers, because I don't think we're giving them the whole story, right?
Okay, this is true.
But there's got to be more to this. It's not just that they got knocked up and they can't attend certain aspects of the celebration, right? It's not.
Oh God, that sounds so bad. No, it's not like that. And
but it might be kind of like that.
No, okay. Okay, no. Okay. This sounds really bad, but if you guys could actually, and for those that you have not tuned in, I said this from the beginning. I just know this. I was in my Chrissy, who is a mother of 3 that's in the wedding, and the mothers understand. I want them to be a part of it, but I don't want them to feel that they have to be a part of every single thing. And one of the moms to be said, and she's mom to be. And she's like, I mean, I don't want to be at certain places, past like 11 or 12. She's like, I'm exhausted. And I said, okay. So I was thinking to myself, I know that there's some of the women there. This isn't unexpected. I know that some of them definitely were planning on getting pregnant. And I said this in the beginning. I said, listen, if we all are pregnant, let's have a pajama party. But if I'm not pregnant with you, I'm not having a pajama party, sort of thing. And if you guys want to be a part of it, that is fine. But I don't want them to feel like obligated. So I came up with a plan B, no pun intended, for them to do. And like, they don't want to be out late. Miami doesn't sleep. I'm sure I'm going to be sleeping, but I'm also sure I'm going to be dancing and having a good time and probably spraying bottles of champagne. Who knows? In pajamas, I don't know by that time. But so I gave them an option. There's a great pool day that we're going to. There's great things that they need, because they want to feel a part of it too. They want, to plan brunch. So now taking the weight off of one's shoulders to put them, the 2 pregnant girls that are, one already backed out. Once she saw the positive test, she was like, I'm not going. I'm like, okay. But there's also another one that is pregnant, and she is both of them are a ton of fun, but she really wants to be a part of it. And she doesn't want to be like, oh, okay, alone, in one of the rooms. And I'm like, all right, well, how can I make sure that she's having a good time? Because I'm all against, like, they all know this. I don't want any penis straws. I don't want anything tacky. And as much as I embarrass these girls, I know they're going to embarrass me. Like, I know it. So.
I hope they do too.
So.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
I hope you have a giant.
No, Anne, don't even say it. No. Oh, they're going to embarrass me because I'm such the prankster with these girls. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to get yours.
Are you replacing bridesmaids at this point? Or are they just dropping?
No, so I
from
gave
the
them
bachelorette party.
I just gave them I am not dropping any. I know that it sounded very sudden when we ended the episode of like, there might be a change up, because I also gave them an option of not being in the wedding. I want them, most importantly, they have life. They're bringing life into this. That is the most important thing.
Right.
I want them to be 1000% comfortable. So if they want to walk down that aisle, please, like, walk down that aisle, girlfriend. But if you want to sit there and be like, no, I want to be in the front row and sit back, that's fine. Sit right there. I just 100% want them to be comfortable. So the change up sounded so bridezilla. I have a heart. I have a heart.
Well,
and I just want them to be comfortable.
we're actually going to take a point away for that comment.
Yeah, we can take a point.
That was very non-bridezilla. So you lose a point for that one. That's good. That's good. You want to lose points here. So that's an interesting thing you bring up. Should bridesmaids, groomsmen for that matter, should they know their expectations, what they're signing up for when they do it, and whose job is it at the end of the day to tell them that? Should groomsmen and bridesmaids be looking this up and know it, or is it really the bride or groom's job to kind of be very clear and open about their expectations and, when they ask and they sign up?
I don't really know the answer to that. I'm really not sure, because I think every bride is completely different and every situation is completely different. So there are some brides that have like a lot more expectations of their bridesmaids. And then there's brides that, are much more laid back. So I think that probably if the bride is asking a group of women to be her bridesmaids, or men, to whoever's standing up with her, they know that bride well enough that they probably kind of know what expectations she has, because you kind of know your friends. And I've been in multiple weddings. I've helped my friends get married who didn't have bridesmaids before. And you just kind of know your role. You know what I mean? And the bride might ask you to do certain things, and, you help them out in every way that you possibly can. But I think that, there's probably no rule for this, just like anything else in weddings.
There are no rules, but this is something that you need to be thinking about as a bride or a groom when you ask, to figure out, like, do these people know what my expectations are? You drop in the right hints, because that's the lesson here.
Yeah, and I think everybody has different expectations. I mean, and weddings are handled totally different ways. So it's just probably the best thing is that when you ask somebody, or before you ask somebody, let your expectations to be known, so people know what they're getting into, and then nobody's disappointed. You know what I mean? So they can either say, no, you know what, I can't do this, especially like if the bride is going to require the bridesmaids to purchase $800 dresses. You know what I mean? Like, they need to be a little bit upfront about that. There's been situations where, people have been in where everybody's expected to buy really expensive bridesmaid dresses that are really ugly. And it's a hard situation, And so I guess if brides are a little bit more honest about where they're at and what they're doing when they ask their bridesmaids,
and that's
it's a better
like
situation.
A different a question, because so I have somebody that's going on the bachelorette party. She's not a bridesmaid. She's an awesome friend, but they have two beautiful children together, two boys. One, Dean Jr., I think he might be around like 4, and there's I think a year and a half, 2-year-old. Oh gosh, she's gonna.
Does she know about the kids policy?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes, but however, here's the thing. So she's a new kind of friend. I met her through Christopher. And Christopher, her husband is Dean, and she made this arrangement where she was going to go for a couple days, because they, that's another thing the bridesmaids have to think about. The bride has to sit there in a dress, is like, if you're going to have a bachelorette, there's children. They have children, so they have to line up babysitters, and all these things. So she, since I set my date first, ladies, listen, I set the date first and requested everybody out. She asked her husband, like, hey, I need to make sure I have this day off if we have a sitter, but, check your work schedule. And then Christopher decided to ask her husband later on. But I already set she already said to him, like, okay, Amber asked me first. This is the way it goes. I was like, yes, first come, first serve. I was like, yes. But that's something to think about, ladies. Like, and gentlemen, like you guys are both listening. It's something you're not just thinking about yourselves and like, okay, you're not just like this big frat party anymore where it's just so convenient. This is something that people definitely have to plan for, like, and take that into consideration.
And the later you get married in life, the more of your friends are going to have children. So it's a totally different situation. And that's like, you know, I experienced it too with my wedding. You know what I mean? Like I had a friend that gave birth just a couple, like 2 months before my bachelorette party. She was going to go to the bachelorette party, but she just decided like last minute she couldn't leave the baby. Ooh, and it was totally fine.
Tough one.
You know, like I get it. Like she's a first-time mom. Like I get it. Like it's going to happen. You know, like they say that they can do it, but when it comes down to it, they can't leave that baby. You know,
that's the key that everyone needs to understand is that being in the bridal party is not just a day of event. It's not necessarily just one party before. It's a whole commitment. You're really supporting the bride and groom. That's not just a saying. You know, for most brides, there are some that I'm sure being a bridesmaid or a groomsman, a cakewalk, and there's not a whole lot going on. But I'd say in most cases, you got to be prepared to be there. You know, not just during the wedding, but beforehand, and you better be out there on the dance floor. Is all I'm concerned. You know, when you're during the party itself. But speaking of your wedding, Amber, we've talked a lot about dresses and floral arrangements, right? Pompous. Sorry, not floral arrangements. It's pompous.
Just like
pompous, right?
Talking about a lot of grass.
I feel like there's a lot of vendor decisions, and I'm a little worried that you're either holding back and you're not telling us that you've made these decisions, or you have been putting some stuff off, and we need to like have a little free reality check about what's happening because you have one of the most popular wedding dates of 2021, most likely.
Yeah. You're in April of 2021, and so far we only know 3 of your wedding vendors. We know where you're getting married. We know who your DJ is, and we know the caterer.
There you go.
You're going to get some serious bridezilla points here if you don't have some answers.
So 4.
I'd say there's 6 other vendors that we need to know about, or you need to know about. Maybe you're keeping them a surprise, and that's okay. I just want to make sure that we're talking about this.
It's not okay though, Wes. This is the wedding planning podcast.
Anne is going she is not having this right now.
Yeah, we got to know photographer, videographer.
In this wedding planning process. Yes, in this wedding planning process, we have voiced great points. And that's a great thing that all these listeners, the listeners are sitting there, and I have questions actually that I did print out from some of them, but we are giving so much advice, right? I'm a bride that is probably doing things a bit different. I get it. Even being in the business, I know. I am like, tisk, stop it. Stop. However, this lovely pompous right here, so it has a really special story, and I'm going to get to the question that you just asked, Wes, and that you mentioned, Anne. But this pompous, and there's other pompous all around this house. I have a whole new different respect for pompous because, so we went to see Chris's family for Thanksgiving, and his mom actually loves to have a personal touch in a lot of things, and this is a great way that she could be a part of it. So she went around the neighborhood, and there was pompous everywhere, and I was like, she didn't understand pompous. Like she's like, what? So this is actually from Georgia. She handpicked this and went to her neighbors, and she's never dealt with pompous, and it's really sharp and it cuts you. And this was wrapped in a tablecloth, and we drove it back from Georgia. And I took my blow dryer and did the whole process with it, hand washed them and bleached them as much as I could. And then there was pompous everywhere. My eyes were swollen. Ladies, if you have allergies, be careful with the pompous. I had, it looked like I got stung by a bee or something, or I had a shellfish reaction. I had a legit huge reaction to it. Anyway, so vendors. So a lot of the floral. My design is very simple. Okay, it just doesn't have a lot going on. It's not simple. I have a lot of shapes. I have a lot of edges. I have a lot of things that we're not making. I don't want to give too much away, but this is a barn. And Mr. Chandler and Mrs. Chandler know what I'm doing. And I am not making it. I want to turn something that is known to be so rustic into something that is a touch of mid-century, that has this edge to it, that you can design this barn and not make it look rustic. So I'm not giving away too much. And actually, one of my vendors that I did mention this to, she said, don't give anything away too much. And I said, okay, but why? And she's like, because you are giving so much good, so many different aspects of how you plan a wedding and how you want to do this and the vendors and this and that. But Amy, that is doing my flowers, I don't know if anybody, I'm not going to give away anything yet. I'm pretty sure Amy, she is doing my flowers, and I will tell you, I'm not having flowers. So it's making it very challenging for some of the florists out there. So when I say I want no greenery, I want this. And they're like, wait, what? So I did book a florist, but she's actually doing a complete different design for the gazebo. And there's no gazebo basically. And that's all I can say to that. And it takes a little bit of a team to do so.
I have no doubts that you will be able to pull that off, but that is not where the vendors stop here. And
I know.
And what is concerning you the most from what you know so far?
Photographer.
About what Amber's revealed? Photographer, yes.
There is, April is so popular, and there are people, like, I'm seeing wedding planners on our vendor sites asking for availabilities who, like, these are some of the top wedding planners in town, and they can't find vendors for their brides that are getting married in April, and Amber's not booking.
I'm not booking, and I'm very
Talk to us,
stubborn.
Amber. What's happening with photographers?
You've got to do something, Amber.
I know. I have every day.
Because the problem is you're gonna get people. Okay.
I know. Without saying it, I know, but we can say I'm not going to get best, quality photographers.
Well, you're not going to get what you want because you're going to wait so long to book people that you're going to be so busy you're not going to communicate with them, and you guys aren't going to be on the same page, and you're going to get upset.
I know, but here's the thing that I'm going through with photographers, right? So I loved this one photographer, and I maybe gave hints to her in the beginning of this when we started talking. I believe we did. She was out of budget, but that wasn't the thing. There was things that I could actually, and we know this is planning, and as being a bride, there's certain things that we actually do not need in a wedding. Photographers are very important, I know. So there was things that, okay, if it was a little over budget, where can I take away from things and make sure I can fit it into budget? That wasn't the thing. There was a style change. I took palms completely out, these mood that I was so into, because I thought to myself, I was actually looking through old wedding photos. I went into a thrift store. No, it was like an antique place. And I was looking through photos, and there was a bunch of antique photos. And I was like, like old 70s style photos. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the tone and the mood that I'm looking for. And oh my God, my children are going to be like, oh my God, these are like the 70s, but you actually never even got married in the 70s. So I'm having this sort of like argument with my mind of like two different ways I'm pulled in. And do I want a timeless photographer, or do I want something that is a mood? Like that, I'm challenged back and forth with it. I understand that I am running short on time. I get it. And the consequence might be that, hey, I'm not going to find one, but I'm confident that I will find one.
Well, I will say that a photographer can be timeless. It's not just so moody. You have to really look at their editing, because it's the editing that dates the photos. Okay. As somebody who looks at like tons of wedding photos all the time, what I look for is the quality of the images. Sometimes like you can see and you can look at people's photos and they take like really great photos, but are you liking the actual technical composition of the photos and the quality of the equipment that they're using? Or are you seeing that there's a pretty photo because there was mountains in the background, right, and the people in the photo are really pretty? Okay. So there's two different things that you can look at, because sometimes you see like photographers tend to post pictures of really attractive couples with great backgrounds, and that's all great, but you can't fall in love with what's in the photo itself, because it's going to be you and your fiance. You have to fall in love with their entire wedding album when you look at it as an entire whole. And then you also, I think the biggest thing that I can say about a photographer is hiring a professional photographer that has enough experience to know how to back up their shots at your wedding, because they're putting them on SD cards, right? They're going to fill tons of them. Are they storing them in proper ways? Are you going to have a second shooter? Because
this is
equipment can break, and it does.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, even to the very best photographers. I mean, I know a photographer in town who's got a $50,000 lens that she uses to shoot with. Okay, she's the cream of the crop. I mean, she's a fantastic photographer, and she has lost an SD card at a wedding before. All right, so it has happened to everybody, but there was a second and third photographer going on, and she has, and how are they backing up the photos? How are they saving all those photos when they get back to your place and take them off those SD cards? Because they reuse them again and again. So do they have the proper tools to back stuff up? Do they have the experience? And this is the other thing, is that some photographers are going to do really well in the outside at the golden hour.
Oh yeah, natural lighting.
On natural light. But if you're going to be having if you're going to be
CO2, how are you going to make that happen?
If you're going to be in a barn with dark lighting and lights going on, do they have the proper equipment to shoot that? You're getting married, you're doing your ceremony at not kind of closer to the evening time. So that's really technically hard for a lot of photographers, and they can say that they can do it, but if you haven't seen examples of their work, it is just a shot in the dark. So sometimes I get real, I love when new photographers come in and they're trying to get into the market and they're trying to, make it their own, and we all give them their space. You know what I mean? Because everybody's got to start somewhere. But if it's something really important to you, you got to do your homework and you got to research, and there are so many amazing photographers in Northeast Florida who can handle any situation that you throw at them.
Preach, Ann. Preach.
Steve's very onto this.
I am sorry, but the photography part of a wedding is something that just because I get, people submit their weddings to me all the time for feature in the magazine, which I love. Okay. And I kind of chuckle sometimes because I get some people that want their magazine, want their photos printed in the magazine, and the quality of them, it looks like somebody shot them with an iPhone sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that they're happy with those photos. That's great because, they like their photos enough that they want them submitted. But I just think to myself, wow,
Yeah, no, I get it.
So
that iPhone takes a mean photo, and that iPhone takes a mean portrait photo.
I love my portrait view. You know what I mean? I do. But from a wedding standpoint, it never fails to amaze me how some people don't see what makes a really good photographer.
Now, there's one thing I want to bring up. Amber, I know you got stuff to respond here.
I got a little
to the preacher,
preacher
named Ann. But I've got to tell you, Amber, you're really into the design. You've spent lots of time on this podcast over this many episodes that we've done talking about your design.
Yes.
I have seen really, really great photographers, and I've seen photographers that are probably equally inexperienced who bring a lot of extra gear, not just bags that can be tucked away, but lights on tripods, some that need power, some videographers too who want to have floodlight for the style of video they shoot. And that's an important question. Why spend all this money on design and decor to just have it taken away by tripods and umbrellas and everything else that's distracting? So that's another great point, that you get the best photographer in the world, and that might just be what they do and what they require to get the shot you want.
So you guys are just making so many good points, and they're all, I get it, but There's also something that comes into play of why I'm being so picky. And I know that my time is very limited. Trust me, I get that. I hear it every day. But okay, so growing up in the wedding business, owning Glam Squad, I was a traveling hair, makeup, wardrobe, and set design. For the majority, like, I mean, you got to say it was like 13 years. So I've worked with, I could name drop photographers and in the most insane campaigns. And so I got to be behind the lens. I worked with somebody for 6 years that shot film. So to see the talent where there's no post editing and to understand the perfection in that one shot or the lighting, I get it. And that's why I'm so meticulous about photographers. I'm not saying that they're not talented because they are extremely talented. But I'm saying when I think about it, when you're talking about lighting, I worked with a photographer that is, if I said his name, you guys would know his photos, and he's amazing. I'm talking about fashion-wise and photography where it's more editorial and glamour, not a wedding.
Which is different
He's
than
incredible. Absolutely, 100%. But I got to see somebody that works so well with natural lighting to get that, which you were talking about. Incredible. You put him inside in studio lighting, I mean, no offense, Kmart, but it looked like something that came from, it was like, what are you doing? And so he wasn't in his element. So you see these photographs, like you said, Anne, and this is where it's hard because if you're getting married outside, you want that photographer that you're looking to capture this outside because you're going to walk around this venue. And then all of a sudden there's a reception going on. That's where in my mind, my videographer comes in. So I think like find something to brides and grooms of what you want to spend the money on. If it is of an outdoor venue and you want to capitalize on that. But then you also sit there and think about your hours getting before, your hours after. Okay, do you need the shots getting into your car that you're driving away in and all these sparklers? How are those photos? Are they extremely edited? Do you need a floodlight? I don't like equipment in the background. And Wes, you know this. We were talking about it. I love how sleek and clean everything that you guys have there. And it's very sexy. And I love that. I don't want some wire hanging across. I don't want that. And I don't want that floodlight if he's trying to, or whomever the photographer is trying to capture that. I'm sorry. You guys are charging prices that are crazy. And if I see that wire and you have to complain about editing it for 4 hours because it's your wire or my loose hair, I don't want to hear shit about it. Like, do it. So put the price tag on something that you're going to sit there and be like, oh no, it's going to take a couple more weeks. We've been in the business. We hear how long it takes to get that book. I don't care about the book. I don't care about how many photos. I want damn good photos. Give me 500 of them. It's going to go on a mantle. It may go on a wall. I don't want to hear it. So when this whole spiel that most of these photographers are giving me, I kind of find it like, all right, it's not for me. It's more like you're trying to sell me on something, and I don't buy pyramid scams. And I feel like that's what they're selling me, not their raw talent. And I see their raw talent, but once I talk to them, it's different. Like, it's like, I rather just book you off of this.
I've got to ask, Amber.
Yeah.
You seem pretty confident still about not having a photographer. Like, you have some ideas in the back of your mind, some names. Are you expecting that when you call one of these photographers up that they're going to drop whatever wedding they might have had and come do yours?
No.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Absolutely
I think some people
not.
have an expectation about that.
No, I'm in contact with a couple of them. And it's not that I haven't been doing my homework on them, and there's some that I just am absolutely in love with. I obviously contacted the ones from California that we were talking about in like episode 3, like, oh my gosh, we might like bring her in. It's such a great idea, but it was such a dumb idea. It was a high idea of like, I'm on this such high, these photos are so great sort of thing. It's our first engagement. It was our first pictures together. No, that would not have ever happened because we think about everything else that's involved in that. Oh my God, if they ever shot the venue, blah, blah, blah. So do I have a list that I've been in contact with? Yes. And I know that it will, but before Christmas, which is not too far away, I will absolutely have a photographer locked down. Like, absolutely.
We are holding you to that. I guarantee you.
And I know that they are. I know the date is open. In of course, 2 of them are pending, but Do I expect them? Absolutely not. This is my fault. Like, I know I should have booked this. And it's something that I like, that lump in the throat when I think about it. Yes. Oh my gosh. And her whole preach. Yes, sister. She's 100% right in that.
I'm taking another point away. I'm taking another point away because that's anti-bridezilla right there. Good for you. Good
giving
for you.
credit to I know. But I think that it will just, and it's hard being in the business and seeing it like it is. It's not taking away from these photographers by any means. And now I feel like just a little bit, like she said, print quality. Like, yes, if I'm going to print just 10 of them, I want it to be insane. But that we all know when you get married where the big price tags are. And photographer is one of them.
Yes, it is for good reason too. So,
yeah,
and I got to ask, we are running out of time, not only for Amber to find a photographer, but also on this episode to keep this bite-sized here. But what are some of the other vendors that Amber's missing that are stressing you out right now, Anne, that are causing you anxiety?
Have you booked cake?
Yes, I have booked cake. However, I know that cake is not really necessarily what we're doing.
Okay. Have you booked invitations? Yes,
invitations are formal invitations are already done. And to be honest with you, we designed them ourselves, and it was my maid of honor and I. But see, okay, the next time that we get on, I'm going to show you her laser cut insane invitations that she did. She got married over at the Treasury, and I mean, she had this gate that opened, and I was like, oh my God, where did you get these? And she's like, she made them on a program. So I think the next time that we get into that, I'll go ahead and tell you what the program was. I'm a very minimalist when it comes to invitations. If you guys go on Pinterest, you can do the research on a minimalist invitation. And it kind of is it's not necessarily basic, but it will bring a lot of the personality that I'm trying to put into the venue. So you'll get a kind of good idea of it.
Okay.
Anything else?
You have hair and makeup, right?
Yeah.
That's done. That's been done. Okay. Let's see. Transportation.
So that's funny. Chandler Oaks is really funny with transportation. It's not transportation is hello Lyft, hello Uber for some of the guests. But outside of that, we do have, and Chandler Oaks has a great. So they have they just added transportation, which we will be utilizing.
Okay.
And
okay. As far as our
when a vendor adds transportation. Or a venue,
Chandler Oaks just added on their own transportation. It's like a Sprinter, whatever you would call it. I don't know what you would call, but it fits the entire bridal party. It's not necessarily a limousine. So that is something I'm going to take on for the bridal party. But
that's
as far
unusual,
as anything,
right? Yeah, a venue with their own transportation.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, hotels all have it. Okay. That's usually part of the packages. So that's, for just a standalone wedding venue to have it. I mean, it kind of makes sense because Chandler Oaks is out there in nowhere. And that is if there is drinking, if there is things like that, that's always something to consider. Just because people have to get to and from places. So
right.
You have hotel room blocks?
Yes, hotel room blocks. It's very tricky in St. Augustine, and I know a lot of brides get married in St. Augustine, so they totally understand that the hotel room blocks are just not common in downtown St. Augustine. Renaissance World Golf Village works really well with us. They have a great team behind them. I love them. I love them so much, and I can't thank you enough because doing the shows there really introduced me to that venue. And that I'm saying venue, but it is a venue as well.
It is a venue.
Yeah, and I love it there. I know that SAC, one of I introduced them to that because of you, and they do a big car show there and stuff and rent out the theater and have their guests stay there. And I just think the whole team over there is so excellent to work with. So they also are building a Renaissance in downtown St. Augustine, which will be done first week of April.
That might be pushing it.
That is pushing it. But that's funny because you got to be careful with your hotel room blocks. And I know we're running tight on time, but when you say block a room, a lot of times the bride and groom have to cover what is not booked if you don't read the fine print. So it could be a 90-day cancellation policy. But the Renaissance World Golf does not have that. They had the best price rooms, and their rooms are so nice, and everything is very convenient there. And it's only 13 miles away from the venue, as opposed to downtown St. Augustine, which is double the price. And we would have to pay for the rooms that are not going to be, if they don't book out, then we definitely would have to.
So other quick questions, and it's just got to be a yes or no because we're running short on time.
We're running short on time, yep.
Videographer, yes or no?
Yes.
Have you booked? You've booked. Videographer?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Decor, rentals, linens?
Yes, absolutely. That is done. That's actually what I've been spending. I think the majority of this on is because I wanted to really.
Oh, you tell her. You go, Erin.
I know, because that's me. I talk too damn much. Okay, so yes, because I wanted to put a lot of emotion and different things into what the wedding is going to be. I wanted to make sure that my grandmother was really scattered around. So she will have, decor and everything is taken care of.
Okay.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better for both of you right now. I was a little worried.
Photo booth, yes. Wes?
Yes, we have a plan there, Ann.
Okay.
A great, simple
Santos,
plan.
yes. We were at the venue doing that, and yes, Santos definitely did introduce me to the type that I wanted. I know when Wes and I were talking, I was like, he's like, yeah, don't even worry about it. We definitely have it. And it happened to be at the venue that we were at doing the opening at Chandler. They do one monthly, and he showed it to me on his phone. So done.
Awesome.
Musicians.
Yes.
We can't talk about that.
We can't talk about that.
That's a secret topic. But we know you have a plan there because you've kind of hinted about it from the beginning. But listen, I feel better now. I was a little worried when this started that maybe there were more loose ends, but it sounds like things are being tightened up. So I'm excited for you. I'm a little relieved for Ann because I thought she was going to really stress out today. But it sounds like there's only one major stressor.
Luckily, I'm not a wedding planner, so
right.
And I'm not Amber's.
I look forward to the answer in 2 weeks or less when you pick your photographer and we find out about that. And I've got to say, congratulations, Amber. You only finished the show with 2 Bridezilla points out of a lot. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm really not too much of a Bridezilla. I mean...
I don't think you're there. You cannot call yourself one. You just have a couple moments. So we'll see what happens in 3 months. And we'll have another quiz. All right, everyone else who's been watching, if you haven't seen the beginning episode, you really got to rewind and listen and catch up to all that has happened. We are deep into this wedding planning process. There is still a whole nother half to go, probably the more exciting half as things start to happen, what feels like faster and faster. That's coming up. So subscribe to the channel, subscribe to wherever you prefer to listen to this, and we want to hear your feedback and your questions. We would love to feature those live on the show here. And thank you so much for all of your contribution here for Premier Bride of Northeast Florida. And Amber, of course, thank you for being our willing participant, willing to get preached at by Ann here. It's all good, though. It's all good. We're all looking out for your best interest. So everyone else, we will see you on our next episode. Ann and Amber, we will catch you then as well. Thank you, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.